This is an early picture of the Professor of Violin at the Royal Academy of Music in central London. His journey is one of the most extraordinary examples of human endurance and perseverance that you're ever likely to see. A boy born and raised in the heart of rural China during the height of the Cultural Revolution went from this rural anonymity to a pinnacle of musical achievement. It's a true story of a man named Hu Kun and his extraordinary journey. He was described by the maestro Yehudi Menuhin as a pearl of China, the world's finest musician, and is now even owns his own orchestra.
Kun's story, as it did with me, will truly amaze you.
The hardships endured as a young man growing up in the incredibly demanding environment of the Cultural Revolution moulded the man, and he is in no doubt about the reasons for his success. It was the father of modern China, Chairman Mao.
The idea from Mao Zedong, it was re-educating people.
His journey is nothing short of stunning, from such humble beginnings to performing as a teenager in the elevated surroundings of the European classical music scene. He performed for President Reagan, princes and kings. The whole story is amazing. But I think one of the most extraordinary things about this whole story is that because of the censorship of the Cultural Revolution, most of the music he played at these prestigious competitions all over the world, he'd never actually heard. Western music was banned when Kun was growing up, and his father had taught him from handwritten notes that were secretly made of these enormously complicated concertos. His interpretation of these pieces, such as Sibelius's violin concerto, played at these competitions, moved these seasoned audiences to tears. But it worked, and he won. Can you imagine what was going through his mind, going from the austerity of Mao
We think that without him, without New China,
to the opulence of Stade in Switzerland? It was an impossible dream. And then to cap it all, an invitation from his hero, the maestro Yehudi Menuhin, to study with him in London. An extraordinary honour never before or since bestowed on anyone. Kun's articulate yet simple analysis of the enduring adoration felt by the Chinese people for their father offers a very different view to the long-held myths about Mao. Contradicting the established view, it also offers an explanation for China's rise in the world stage. It's no exaggeration to say that Kun's story is breathtaking. While competing in the world's most prestigious competitions, the teenage Kun was observed by his long-adored mentor and inspiration, Yehudi Menuhin, who invited Kun to London as his first and only private pupil. Kun's account of the last 14 years of the maestro's life reveals a wonderfully sensitive side to the great man. In his final year, the maestro asked Kun to perform Elgar's violin concerto, as Elgar had requested of Menuhin some 70 years earlier. At the time, an enormous privilege to the newly arrived immigrant from Eastern Europe, echoed in part by Kun's own story. Kun was the only private pupil Menuhin had, and the enormous affection clearly felt by the maestro is eloquently described in the many letters and notes. But the main thrust of the programme will be to follow Kun from his harsh, even brutal formative years, the political and social environment that created it, leading on through his early teenage years as a Chinese icon, his competitive years, and then on to the Menuhin years, finishing with Kun's optimistic view of a world increasingly influenced by the East.